There was a book that this guy wrote in the 1970s, a guy named John Marco Allegro. He wrote a book on psychedelic mushrooms and Jesus. And it was called The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross. And he was one of those guys that decoded the Dead Sea Scrolls. So he was a scholar, and he was also an ordained minister, but he became agnostic after he started reading all this biblical literature and stuff and realizing that a lot of these stories come from older and older stories. So he reads this thing for 14 years and decodes it, and he comes up with this theory that Christianity was really based around psychedelic mushrooms and fertility cults. And this whole story about like what Jesus is, like the word Jesus in this guy's translation of ancient Sumerian is a mushroom covered in God's semen.
But Jesus' story goes all the way back to Babylon.
Yeah,
his story
exactly.
about the warrior.
Mm-hmm. It's all very similar.
The warrior who killed his wife, fooled around on him, and they said the baby came from him, and he's the seed of the God, and so they made that into Jesus. So to say, I don't know if it's true.
I don't know if it's true either, but
they got the same story.
He thinks the origins of that story is all psychedelic mushrooms. That's what he thinks. He thinks ancient people, found these psychedelic mushrooms and got connected to God. And through eating them, they developed this moral and ethical framework of how to live. God gave them visions of how to do things the right way. And he thinks it all came from the consumption of these psychedelic mushrooms. And this guy was a straight, academic. He wasn't a crazy person. He wasn't like some Timothy Leary guy who was off the deep end. He was a straight-laced, sober academic who came up with this theory.